Is it on your Facebook or Hamilton Radio? Okay, well, I don't see it. Okay. Okay, I found it. No problem. We're good. We're fine. He made it right here on time, though, too.
I was very punctual today. I'm not always.
I gotta
Well,
give
once
you a
we
lot of
changed the
credit.
time, yeah, then I was punctual.
I was like, he wants me to change the time for him. Can I do this? I was like, Dad, we can't miss this option, this offer. I was like, I'm doing it. Okay, it's on my Facebook. I see it. Cool. This is the 23rd too, right?
Yep.
You put the wrong picture up, by the way, for my... Okay. All right, good. Yeah, because I don't like that picture. It has to be my caricature. Okay. Sounds good.
Hey there, it's Kelly Pickler. You're listening to the DJ Danny Show.
Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2019. Welcome to the DJ Danny Show on HamiltonRadio.net stream HR2. I'm your host, DJ Danny. I've never done my show this early, but my guest definitely gets that spot. So I'm blessed and honored to have the Emmy writer, and a comedian here, Adam Yenser from the Ellen DeGeneres Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Danny. And thanks for changing the time. I was very demanding.
You know what? But when you're a guest, you have to
So
be.
far, I'm the most difficult guest you've had.
No, not difficult at all. Just, I was just like, I get out of work at 3. Can I make it here by 3:15?
Well, we both made it on time.
We did awesome.
It's all good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I was going to say, it's not even that you were demanding, but when you are a guest, you have that spot,
Yeah.
You get that incentive because we're interviewing you.
Yeah.
So you tell us versus
exactly.
we tell you.
When it's someone else's show, I can change the time. When I'm hosting, then I'm at the mercy of whoever the guests are.
So, Adam, why don't we just start a little bit into the beginning? Because where you first start getting into, I guess, more like comedy, what you kind of liked when you were growing up with?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to get into comedy pretty young, like probably by junior high or high school. I knew that I wanted to get into like comedy writing. But I grew up watching like Saturday Night Live and Monty Python and like Comedy Central stand-up specials all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I always grew up watching like mostly Comedy Central, like all the sort of sitcoms that people from my generation watched, like
Carol Burnett?
Well, no, that was like before me. I'm not that old.
Okay, well, I remember that.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
younger,
I've seen
so.
the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I didn't watch like Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World or like Fresh Prince or all these shows that like other people my age grew up with those, and I was just watching like Comedy Central stand-up specials and sketch comedy like 24/7. That's
okay.
like all I would
Sketch comedy,
watch.
like what though?
Saturday Night Live was always my favorite, and I liked Monty Python a lot too. And then when I was in like high school, I watched a lot of Kids in the Hall and Upright Citizens Brigade.
Okay.
So those were kind of the ones that I grew up with, and that's kind of what like got me interested in doing comedy. When I was in like 6th grade, probably when I was like 12 years old, me and a friend of mine, Dan Shelley, who also does stand-up comedy, he's from Pennsylvania where I'm from, we started making like as kids like little sketches together and like just with our camcorder, recording stuff and showing it to our friends and classmates. So that was like my earliest experience like writing and performing in sketches. But yeah, then by like junior high or high school, I kind of knew that that's like the direction that I wanted to go.
You wanted to get more
Yeah.
into it. Did you want to be like a part of the sketches, or did you want to do the writing and
No,
like, directing behind
I
it?
only wanted to write them. People
Oh,
always
really?
yeah, I like dream job for me was always like writing for like Saturday Night Live. That's like I feel like a lot of like aspiring comedy writers, that's like
Of course.
the ultimate
Where
goal.
the next step
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
yeah.
But then whenever I would tell people, that I was wanted to write for SNL, or then as I got older and started getting writing jobs and started doing stand-up, people would always be like, oh, do you want to be a cast member? Do you want to act? I was like, no, I just want to write. I'm not a good actor. It's not one of my talents. Like, people cast me in sketches sometimes, both like on Ellen and like when I I write sketches with friends still sometimes and like produce some independent sketches, and people will try to like cast me and things. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it, but I'm not a good
You
actor.
don't wanna
That's
do
not
it,
that's
yeah.
not what I aspire to do. Yeah.
So you like to be behind the scenes and basically write it for someone else.
As far as sketches and that sort of comedy goes, yeah, now I do like doing stand-up comedy live, like
Oh, of
that
course,
sort
you're a
of
comedian.
performing I like, and when I do like hidden camera bits on Ellen or like the core or like the sort of investigation kind of pieces, as long as I can like pretty much be myself, I'm good. But I can't do like a character or like portray someone
But
else.
Kevin's a character.
Yeah, people always say this.
I mean,
People
no,
always
no,
go, no, people always go, oh, but you're playing a character when you do Kevin the Cashier. I'm like, no, it's just the name Kevin the Cashier, and it's just me being a jerk to people at a store. Like, it's just still me being me.
But it's the last blockbuster in the world.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was the most recent one we did, was at the last blockbuster in the world. That one was fun. We shot all day there. We got some really good stuff. The people there were awesome.
And you guys would be
fun.
fake mean. See, like you're
Yeah,
not like
no, I'm not. I'm not really mean, and even in those, like, I don't know. I feel
you
like
still have
maybe,
a heart, so you feel
yeah,
bad.
I don't want to make I don't want to make people feel bad. I don't want to make people angry. I just like to sort of mess with them. I sort of want to be I want to seem like the weirdo and the jerk, so they can like, their reactions to me is what's funny. I'm not really like making fun of them in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that they react to you. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
definitely,
Like the best things about those bits are when you can like cut away to someone's, face, just, like just aghast at whatever I'm doing.
Or like blur their face. You know what I
We
mean?
usually
Yeah.
try not to blur their face, because I mean after we're done taping, we let people know what we're doing so that we can
So I was
use
gonna
them on
ask,
TV.
what about like something for Impractical Jokers? Would you ever want to do something like that?
I think that's probably the closest thing to like the hidden camera bits that I do that's like on TV as far as a show goes, is Impractical Jokers. I wouldn't mind doing something like that. I do enjoy doing those pieces, but I don't know that I would personally want to do like a whole show about it.
Or just being a part of it for
Yeah.
like a little bit. Or
Yeah.
if you saw them when you're like around in
Yeah.
California or something, then you'd want to.
Yes,
some might be a
if we
part
both
of that.
wind up at the same place, just pranking each other
At the
back
same
and
time.
forth. Yeah.
That sounds like fun. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
Two people collide. You'd have to be Kevin then.
Yes,
You
I would have
couldn't
to
be
be
out
in
of-
character then.
Wow.
But
so that's-
I always say, sorry, I also
No, you're
always
good.
say like, so before I like, got into the entertainment industry at all, when I was growing up, I grew up near Allentown, Pennsylvania.
okay.
There's a hot dog shop there named called Yakko's Hot Dogs.
Okay.
It's like famous locally. But that's where I worked from the time I was like 16 till the time I was like 21 or 22.
Was it kind of like Stewart's?
I don't know
Younger?
Stewart's. They were like chili dogs though. They're really good.
Just hot dogs?
Yeah, well, they had burgers and cheesesteaks too, but mostly known for the hot dogs, and I still eat there like every day whenever I'm home in Pennsylvania. They're so good.
Well, you should get a discount now, right?
I
Or
eat
not
hot
even pay
dogs
for it?
at Yakko's every day when I'm home in Pennsylvania. But like even when I was working there, like I obviously couldn't go as far as I do like on the show, but
Mm-hmm.
when I was bored, I would mess with customers then and stuff. So that's why I feel
So
like
it just
I feel like the
second
Kevin
home.
it's not really me acting. It's just me, being weird to people.
or being yourself.
Yeah.
Or like your other self.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
What about more of like when you worked at Yonkers, were you a server?
Yakko's. It's like a
Yonkers.
fast food. It's like a fast food restaurant. So I was just like counter help and like rolling hot dogs
Like-
and flipping burgers. It was a fast food job, but I enjoyed it.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
nice.
I enjoyed it a lot. Like people always, I think a lot of people have like, I don't know, a lot of people growing up either work fast food or like service industry jobs, and then
I work insurance.
Yeah, but like especially like restaurant industry stuff, I feel like after people like get out of that, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I'm done with that. I never want to do that again. Now I love my job. Now I love doing stand up. I love doing comedy writing.
But you want to go back?
No, I don't necessarily want to. But I've told people this. I go like, if the entertainment thing ever like doesn't work out, if I ever if I hit my peak and then disappear, I'd go back and work at Yakko's in a second. I enjoyed it.
Well, that's nice.
It was fun. Yeah.
It's just, I guess it also depends the people that you work with.
Yeah.
You
No.
get that
It
bond.
was a good place to work.
You might miss them,
Yeah.
or they miss you when they see you on
Well,
TV.
they don't have much time to miss me because I'm in there eating every day over the summer.
When you go back.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's still very fun
Yeah.
and eventful for them. Well, when you grew up so this job you've had when you were how old? 16 you started?
Yeah, the fast food job I had from the time I was 16 till probably about the time I was 21 or 22. It was probably around the time I was 22 because my first like entertainment industry job. So I went to Penn State University.
Okay.
What
did you graduate for?
I double majored in film and video and philosophy.
Ooh.
Because I wanted to get into like comedy writing, and through the film classes, they had like screenwriting classes and learning script format. But while I was at Penn State, I got an internship for Late Night with Conan O'Brien when he was in New York. And so I started interning for Conan in 2005.
Kanako?
What?
Is that
Conoco, yeah.
Conoco,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to read it and I was
think
like,
the
what is
Conoco, the Conoco, like, corporation name, I don't know if I have this right. I think that might have started a little after Late Night, because that was now, like, his own production company.
Okay, and then it says...
But yeah, at the time it was at NBC in New York in Rockefeller Center. It was a really cool place to work. But the reason I brought that up is because when I first started, after I interned there, then I graduated college, and then I got hired there as like a receptionist and intern coordinator. And at the time, I couldn't afford to live in New York City yet. So I was commuting from Allentown on a bus from like, if you know where Dorney Park is, there's a bus. There's a bus station right across from Dorney Park. And I would take the bus from Allentown to New York City 2 hours every morning and every night to work at Conan. And then I was also working at Yakko's at the hot dog stand on weekends. So my time working for Conan O'Brien and my time working at Yakko's overlapped for about like a year and a half.
So it was a little complicated overlapping? Or was it like a
no,
good
it
overlap?
was fine. It was good.
Like it didn't...
No, it didn't bother
affect
me.
you.
I liked.
But it was helping
I
with the
liked
money
working
coming
at
in.
both places.
And look where you are
Yeah.
now, right? So then from that, basically, were you ever able to, pick up all that money that you had and were able to stay in New York? Or did
Oh
you
yeah,
just,
eventually I saved enough money. It was about 6 months before I saved up enough money to move to New York and live there full time. Yeah.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Not as bad as California, but still.
Well, actually, I think New York City's, in my experience, at least like as far as like rent and like cost of living wise, is more expensive than LA. I think San Francisco might be more expensive than New York, but I've never lived full time in San Francisco.
I just know when I was close to Anaheim, that
Yeah.
was truly expensive.
Well, yeah, there are like, even in LA, there are like more expensive neighborhoods compared to others. But
Beverly
where I
Hills.
live in LA is I live near Burbank. So it's
Okay,
it's
you're
expensive
Burbank.
compared to like a lot of places in the country, but not compared to like New York or like some of the more expensive
Yeah,
areas.
you're
of
not
Los
like right by
Angeles.
Hollywood or wherever.
Yeah.
That place is where it's like
Yeah.
booming. Yeah, I understand that completely. Okay, so then from your career to the 2 jobs that you had, when you first started Conan, did you have to audition for it, or how did you get the job?
At Conan, it was an internship that I started there. So
they reached out to you from your school?
no, so this is what I always recommend if there's anyone out there like listening that like wants to get into like comedy writing or anything in the entertainment industry really. Internships are like doing them in college and doing as many as you can is like the best thing to do. It's like the best way to get your foot in the door, and then once you graduate, you'll at least have some connections. Like most people I know that work in the industry started off like interning somehow. So my junior year of college, wanted to try to get an internship that summer.
Okay.
And so like I said, like SNL was like a goal. So like I submitted resumes to like every show in New York that I could find. Saturday Night Live, The Daily Show, Late Show with David Letterman, Conan, anything I could find. And then I also submitted to like soap operas and other talk shows and other production companies.
Just things that...
Yeah, I
quick
sent
as
out. I
can be.
must have applied like 20 different places. That my junior year that summer, the only place that got back to me was the Maury Povich Show. So I
This
took
is the story I want to hear.
so I took an internship. My very first internship in the industry was at the Maury Povich Show in New York. I interned there 3 days a week over the summer of my junior year in college. Again, I would take the bus from Allentown to New York 3 days a week. It was in the Hotel Pennsylvania at the time. And it was like right around the time Maury switched to doing like all paternity tests all the time.
Oh, okay.
Like I feel
Okay.
like they used to kind of do some like they always had some paternity tests, but like I remember when I would like watch it growing up, every now and then they'd do like geek to chic transformations or like making kids' wishes come true. They would have like a
the cute
variety.
little things. Yeah,
And then
yeah.
like, the ones I think that brought the ratings were the Who's My Baby's Daddy. So then eventually the show became almost all
That's
that.
what I
Yeah.
said. There was so much drama every time I watched
as an
it.
intern at the Maury Show, we would go up there and there would be about, I don't know, probably like 6 to 10 interns a day. And we'd sit there at these phones that would ring off the hook from morning to night. And it would just be people calling who wanted to be on the show. And so we'd just have to take their information, write down, who they were, where they were from, how many potential men were their baby's daddy. It was always like... It'll always be like, oh,
To
I
keep the
know,
show
I know
entertained.
one of these, 3 men is my baby's dad, and we'd be like, all right, because we'd have to get sort of like a structure of the story, and then we'd send them all to the producers, and they would kind of pick which people they wanted
What they
to
liked.
call back and interview. But yeah, it was always like, oh, I know one of these 3 men is my baby's dad. And it's like, oh, are you sure it's one of these 3? And it's like, yeah, I can tell by the baby's nose.
I was
And
going to
then,
say
yeah, and then
D&E
you're like,
or
okay,
something.
there's no like real science behind this. It's just you estimating that it's probably, and then we'd be like, is there anyone else at all that it could be? And then they'd be like, well, there are 8 other guys that I was with at the same time. And it's like, oh my gosh. So
my
we just have to write down, how many potential fathers there were, and what the
So it was like
what the background was. And then that was a big part of the job. And then sometimes we had to, like, once they had guests in New York City, we had to like escort them back and forth from their hotel to the studio to get them there on time. Sometimes there was like, picking up props or setting things up in the studio. But it was very phone call heavy. But it's like, as much as people laugh about the Maury show, it is like an entertaining show, and it was a fun place to work. Like I had a good time there.
Like you enjoyed every
yeah.
moment of
Yeah, I
it. You're like,
enjoyed it.
oh, this person
it
had
was-
so many baby
it was
daddies. I
great.
can't even.
It was great, yeah. There was a guy who would call up every single night and leave like voice messages overnight, and I mean every single night, claiming to be Charles Manson and wanting to talk to Maury. And we would get a voicemail from this guy every single morning that we'd have to listen to and then delete.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
you're never going to,
But they run that number, every time the show airs, so the phones are just ringing constantly. And then, some of them are prank calls, but yeah, it was, mostly people that wanted to be on the show. We'd have to go through, they'd get a lot of like viewer mail too. And then sometimes, like, especially when weather was bad, if like people canceled their tickets, we would go out on Fifth Avenue and like just try to like kind of like barking at a comedy show, like just trying to wrangle people, like, hey, want to come see a live studio taping? Want to come see the Maury
Did you guys
show?
was it free tickets or was it?
Yeah, they were free tickets. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Almost, I think every show that I've worked for, most television shows are free. I think
But it's
some
like,
of the
how the
game
heck do
shows
you
you might
get
have to
in
pay
there?
for. I'm not sure, but yeah.
I was going to say, how do you officially get in there, though? Like, if you're trying to see any of the shows, it's more you have to be on the list. I think
Yeah, you
couples
can
can.
register for tickets online or like through like over the telephone for most shows, but I think it varies by. Most shows, get booked pretty solid. That it, like at Ellen now, it's like it's so hard to get tickets to that show.
I've only been to California once.
but-
I've never got to see it
But
live.
yeah, judging by walking around Fifth Avenue trying to get people to see Maury, it was not as hard to get tickets to that show.
Well, plus you work there. As
I've
an
never
intern, right?
walked around Burbank trying to get people to come see Ellen at the last minute.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No,
though,
and
because
no.
she's very successful.
Yeah. Well, so was Maury.
in
It was a good
person,
show
so-
too. But yeah. So yeah, that was my first internship, and then the following year, so this was my senior year in college, then is when I reapplied to like a bunch of other internships. And so then having the Maury internship on my resume, I think helped me to get the internship at Conan the following
Oh, definitely.
the following year. Yeah. So yeah, it was
And
good.
then, so you did internship at Conan?
Yeah, I interned at Conan. I took a semester off, and I graduated in December instead of spring. So I took a semester off and interned for Conan like full time in spring of 2005. And then over that summer, because I had off that summer, I interned like 3 days a week there. And then I was finishing up my last semester of school that fall, and I found that on my schedule I had Fridays free. So I had been there like 2 semesters, and they seemed to like me at Conan. So I asked them, can I keep interning here 1 day a week through the fall? So I would go. I was back at school at Penn State, which is like central Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then every Thursday night after my like 6 or 7 p.m. class, I would drive 3 hours back to Allentown and then sleep at my parents' home and then take a bus to New York in the morning just to intern every Friday in the fall.
To do that.
But
okay.
I think, keeping sort of, my face around the office there, and people notice when you're there, and
Yeah.
if you're
Recognize
that's the other
faces.
thing, and that you do a good job. That's the thing. Like I've learned in this industry a lot. There's so many people. These internships and like jobs in the industry are really hard to get.
Oh, most
And
definitely.
then like once you get those jobs, it's very surprising. Now there's definitely a lot of like good like interns and production assistants I've met, but like then there's also people who get those internships and then they sort of have an attitude like they're like above it, or they're not like giving
They
it
have
their all,
that
because
ego.
you're not
Oh,
doing
most
you're
of
not
them
doing
have.
glamorous work at first. You're getting people coffee and making copies and stuff, But if you get into that industry, like, be the best like person at getting coffee and making copies that you could possibly be,
Yeah,
and everyone will notice.
take
Yeah,
it every
yeah,
single step of the
it's a
way.
great way to get your foot in the
I was
door.
gonna say a lot of things. A lot of people don't realize that you have to definitely go above and beyond for that. Like, people do think it is easy as soon as you make it. You're like, I'm working for the Ellen Show, but it doesn't. You gotta work your way up, and I've seen that a lot because one of my favorite shows is The Office.
Yeah. Oh, The Office was a great show. Yeah.
I've definitely seen the people that they have on that show, what they have to do and how to work up there. But that's just The Office. That's not a big prior commitment, but it depends where you're working and how you pursue and push yourself up there. So.
Yeah. So this is just an interesting fact. So you're a fan of The Office?
Yes.
Ellie Kemper, who was the receptionist in like the final seasons of The Office, she interned with me my first season at Conan.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she started as an intern at the Conan show also, and then
It's
started
crazy.
acting in sketches there on Conan after her internship was over. Yeah, I saw. And then I think she did a lot of stuff with the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York. She had a one-woman show for a while.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then got the job on The Office, and now has been in movies and on other shows.
Because
It's
every
great.
time I was going to say I watched that show, exactly what she's doing is what I do. I work for an insurance company, but I'm a receptionist.
Yeah.
So it's like everything she's doing besides flirting with Jim. It's more of like that whole.
That's what you do. You just make like flirty eyes at someone in the office. You just have
We only have
awkward
two
moments
people,
with people.
so
Yeah.
it's not a big office, very small, 2 people, but it's fun. It gets your foot in the door, and if you ever need insurance, you
Nice.
can come out to me because we have a big rate reduction. So.
Oh, that's great.
So, from your years of starting and what you wanted to do, from the sketches and stuff that you were working with your friends, getting up, growing up more and stuff, and you were in a lot of these roles, where you were an intern on Maury, you were an intern on the Conan O'Brien show.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you feel as if you wanted more success? Like, what did you feel was the next step for yourself?
Well, I always had known. So when I was interning at Conan, by the time I got the job there and lived in New York, I still had the goal of being a comedy writer. But like, I also wanted to try stand up. That's something that I'd like kind of thought about doing for like several years. And I probably wrote jokes down in a notebook for like 3 years before I ever got like the nerve to like go
Get
up
up
and
there.
actually perform.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was during the writer's strike in 2007, and like all the late night shows went off the air for like a week or two. And I was sort of just like bored and didn't know what I was doing then. And I was like, I'm gonna finally go out. It was that week when I had nothing to do. I was like, I'm gonna put a set together and go out and try it. And it was at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York City. They had this like late night Saturday open mic. It was probably at like, I don't know, 12. It was at midnight maybe, and it didn't start till 1 or something like that. But Pete Holmes was the host of that open mic at the time, who went on. He's on that show Crashing on HBO.
Yeah, I was going to say his name.
He had a show after Conan for a little while. But yeah, he's hilarious. But yeah, he was hosting that open mic, and that was like the first one that I ever went up. I did 5 minutes. I didn't tell any of my friends. Like, some people, when they go and try it for the first time, they want like a lot of their friends there to support them.
Yeah.
There's like 2 mindsets. Some people want all their friends there to laugh and
And
support
some
them.
people don't.
I was like, I don't want anyone to know I'm doing this, because if it goes bad, I will never tell anyone that I was here. No one ever has to know.
So it was like a secret.
But yeah, it went. So I went out and I did it, and it went really well. It was really fun. Now, I'm not saying I was like amazing right away. I had like a few good jokes. It didn't go terrible, and I felt good about the set afterwards. And then it was also one of those things where, like, after I did it, having worked in the industry for like a year to 2 years at that point, just behind the scenes, and having sort of thought about writing sketches, like when I did stand up, it was like immediately like, oh, this is fun. This is what I want to do more of. Like this is where I feel like I like being in control of the material. I like being able to, deliver it myself, and you get the sort of instant feedback from the
I was
audience.
going to say, you want the laughter.
You get the instant reaction. Yeah. So it was great. And then, I started doing that more regularly, like had, some ups and downs, some bombed a few times. It's still bomb every now and then, but, it got better and better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then stand-up became more of a goal of mine. And then writing was still like the ultimate goal. So I worked for Conan for 6 years, moved out to L.A. when he moved out there to take over the Tonight Show. And then when the whole thing with like Leno and NBC and all that went down, which was... It was a crazy time to be there, but it was like so much fun because there was like fans rallying outside the studio.
Okay,
and
I was going to say I've heard of that.
It was really exciting, yeah. But then his show wound up on TBS, and they moved to the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank, and I worked there for a year. And then a writing job opened at Conan, and I applied to that, but I didn't get it.
Aw.
Well, yeah, but the writing job there is rarely open. So at that point, I was like, it's going to be another 6 years before another writing job
Is
opens
it because
here.
of like someone didn't do something right, like writing job, like depending on the material that you have to write, or like what does it mean
Wait, what are you asking?
about the writing job? What would that consist of?
Like a staff writer, like writing the sketches, writing the monologues, writing the material for the show.
To help
And
it.
so so like a late night show typically has a staff of like 10 to 15 writers. Our show at Ellen has like around 8 writers, I think. And late night shows usually divide between monologue writers and sketch writers. At Ellen, we all kind of work on both the monologues and the comedy bits.
Okay.
But yeah, so to apply to writing jobs, one of the writers at Conan, I think at the time had, decided to leave. So then there's an open staff writing position that I applied to. You send in like writing samples of like jokes and desk piece ideas and stuff like that. And yeah, I just didn't get it that time. And like I said, it takes a while for writing jobs to open on shows because they're great positions. They're really competitive too. And if you're on a show like that, once a writer's in at a place like that, you tend to stay for a while.
Yeah. Well, you
So
would
I
hope
started looking at other shows, send out a few writing samples elsewhere. And then the Ellen DeGeneres show was on the Warner Brothers lot, just a couple studios over from Conan. So one of my friends there heard that there was a writing job open at Ellen, so I sent them a writing sample. They liked it and asked me to send like a few more to sort of watch more of Ellen's monologues and her old stand-up and kind of get her voice down and submit a few more samples. And then I got a interview and got hired there in 2011, I think I started there. I've been there 8 years now.
Okay.
And yeah, it was so that's how I kind of got the first like writing job then in the industry.
But it's because of like the school and everything, though. If you didn't go to school and pursue your writing, then it would have been harder, right? Because you have you need like a degree.
Yeah,
or
because
something. Or
I
you try to
I don't
have
know
one.
that you don't necessarily. I feel like I should tell everyone you need a degree to work. You should go to college. It definitely helps. And like
Okay.
I said,
I have not gone to
the
college yet.
internships. Well, what I would say is the internships helped a lot. I loved Penn State. Like I'm still like a huge supporter of Penn State, and like I loved my experience there. I liked my professors and my classes. Like what I got out of it career wise is in my script writing classes, you learn like script format and sort of the process of it. I don't think you necessarily, don't think you can't succeed if you haven't gone to college. I mean, there are comedy writers out there that either dropped out or never went to college, or if
Or they
if
might
you
have
can
dropped
put
out of
together
school.
if you can put together a funny packet of material, and you can either find a way to submit it yourself if you have the right contacts, or submit through an agent to a show, you can get a writing job without a degree, and maybe without taking all the steps that I did. I just think that sort of if you're looking at a way sort of step by step to get into the industry, like I said, getting an internship and then kind of moving up the ladder, it's a really kind of good way to get in. And I've been lucky that I've had pretty much steady work in the industry from the time I graduated onward. Whereas if if you don't have those connections right out of school, it might take you a little while longer to
Or paying
find
the
a way
loans
in.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that to get up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely very complicated for others, but blessed
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was gonna say it definitely seems like it would be hard, to get on those kind of shows.
Yeah.
And you always want to make sure you have like your foot in the door somehow, or something to fall back on,
Yeah.
which is you
I
still have your
had
hot dog
Yakos.
place.
I could go back and serve hot dogs if Conan doesn't work out.
So a little bit about your comedy, because I've actually never heard it.
Oh, okay. You haven't listened to any of my stand-up?
No, I have
Okay.
not.
So what do you want me to say about it?
Well, no, I wanted to know what exactly are some of your sets.
I don't like doing jokes not on stage because I feel like it doesn't always translate.
go over there
well.
and go on stage,
I
just
can't.
come
I
on.
can't. But I do. I do observational material a lot. I like doing like jokes with like setup and punchlines. I'm not like a storyteller comedian.
Okay.
It's not that I don't like that style of comedy. It's
No,
just
you have
not
your
my
own.
style. Yeah.
Of course.
So I'm not a storyteller. Like I said, I can't act, so I'm not like a character. Or, like I don't do characters or, like big
He's not Kevin
big
anymore.
act outs and impressions. Yeah. So yeah, I like jokes that are kind of set up punchline kind of jokes. I do a lot of observational material. I do some political material. I'm one of the few more conservative leaning comedians out there.
Okay.
So I kind
So you
of
watch what you say.
what? I like doing
That's a yes.
I like doing conservative material for liberal audiences just to see if I can like win them over and get them to laugh at stuff that they don't agree with and normally don't hear. I like to walk that line. I think a lot of I do sometimes like sort of politically like themed shows where it's like all conservative comedy or a mixture of comedians. I like to do like a set to just a regular audience where I can kind of do a lot of observational stuff and then weave in a few, some political material and kind of balance it out. But I think the political material on both sides gets like kind of too heavy-handed and it becomes this sort of like preaching to the choir kind of.
It can. It depends what you're talking
everyone
about.
Everyone just
political.
has this niche audience that agrees with them already. I like to go out there and see if I can make people laugh, even though they're probably on the other side of the political spectrum than I am. But yeah, but I like doing observational material too. And yeah, I
When you mean observational, what do you exactly mean?
so like
Because
just
I think
like
there's two parts to it.
just like sort of things either from like everyday life experiences or you can also draw from like pop culture and sort of what's
The
out
Ellen
there to
DeGeneres
write
show.
jokes out there.
Yeah.
Well, Ellen's style is very like observational, like her latest special on Netflix, Relatable. It's like it's kind of she had that title Relatable because as a comedian you have to be relatable, but with all the success she's had, it's kind of her finding that thing where how do you still relate to people and find what the experiences that we all have in common. And I think
out.
like all comedians have that because you want to make it like personal enough to yourself to where you have something unique to say, but you always have to find a way that the audience is going to either relate to you or at least recognize what you're saying enough to laugh at it and get the joke. So yeah, I would say that's like observational material, as opposed to political material or as opposed to doing characters or like storytelling.
Which is okay because everybody
Yeah.
has their certain type of what you like, what you're working with, what you prefer, and how you want to reach out to the crowd.
Yeah, except impressions. Impressions aren't okay.
You don't do impressions?
They're just. No, I'm kidding.
And is it hard
They're
to do
fine.
impressions, or you do
Oh,
do
I
impressions?
find it hard to do impressions.
Why?
What?
Because
it's
the
like, it's like
acting?
a specific talent, I think, to like especially if you're gonna change like your facial expressions and everything. Like I'm not good at. I feel like I'm very monotone, so I can't really.
So you
like,
wouldn't be able to do anything
can't
like a
do
puppeteer?
Voices. No, I've never wanted to be a puppeteer. No.
Or no, I mean where he throws his voice like
Oh
Jeff
no,
Dunham.
that's a ventriloquist.
Oh, I'm sorry,
A
ventriloquist.
puppeteer,
Yeah,
a puppeteer hides under the table, and then
Yeah.
and then talks to the puppet.
Yeah.
A ventriloquist, no, I can't.
That's where you throw your
No,
voice. That's
no.
what I meant. Yeah, not a puppeteer. Well, you could do
Yeah,
both.
yeah.
It's okay. No,
Maybe I
but
would be an okay puppeteer because then it's not like me acting. I can hide behind the table.
you
and
could
just
probably
have
get on
the-
Sesame Street and
Yeah.
pick up your own.
All right, that'll be my next career goal. Will be to get on Sesame Street.
Well,
not,
wait.
not as like a guest, but as a puppeteer. You'll never know I'm on there. I'm just
So one
my
of the-
hand will be up one of the puppets.
So one of the pictures that you posted
Uh-huh.
was something about Sesame Street, but it was for the Ellen. Do you remember?
My picture with Elmo.
Was it Elmo?
Yeah.
But it was something about Ellen DeGeneres.
Well, I went at one of the Emmy Awards.
That's what it was, Emmy.
Yeah, so the daytime Emmy Awards, that was maybe my first season on the show. We went to the daytime Emmy Awards and yeah, we won the Emmy that year. And then after, like, there's like, like a little like after party kind of area after the daytime Emmys, and a lot of the Sesame Street people are always nominated. Like their show, I mean, they win so much. They're a fantastic show.
Well, I
But-
grew up watching them.
Yeah,
I'm sure you
I
did
think
too.
everyone grew up watching Sesame Street.
Yeah.
It's like Mr. Rogers now. Like
Yeah,
all
Tom
this-
Hanks
all
just
this,
released
all
a
this
trailer.
Mr. Rogers stuff is coming out now.
Yep.
Like I saw the documentary a year or two ago, and now they have this trailer for the Tom Hanks one. But yeah,
Cool
like
movie.
Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street, they're just those shows that like every kid everywhere
Grew up
watching
watching.
them. Yeah. But yeah, so at the Emmys, the guy that did the Elmo, the puppeteer and who does his voice, he was there, and so me and one of the other writers got a picture with Elmo holding our new Emmy that we won.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Elmo was holding it. So
Yeah.
was that, but they were nominated as well as you guys?
Yeah, they were nominated as well. I don't remember if we were nominated in any of the same categories that year or not. The daytime Emmys the categories are a little strange because it's always like the primetime Emmys, the categories are like all the shows are kind of similar formats up against each other. So it's like, The Daily Show, Saturday Night Live, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon are all like in the same category.
Yeah.
Like our like writing category at the daytime Emmys, it's always like us and then like a kids show and then like some special like there's something called Henry Ford's Innovation Nation that we're always like nominated against. And like I'm sure they're all good shows, but they're so like they're such
They
different
don't match
formats.
yeah.
Like it doesn't it's weird that we're like
Doesn't like
all
match the
nominated
topic.
in the same category, yeah. But yeah, that's how the categories work there. So yeah, I don't know that we're ever nominated in the same category as Sesame Street for
But it was
anything.
pretty nice to meet them.
Yeah,
Hang out with them.
Well, yeah, it was good. I have a joke that I do about it in my stand up, and my stand up's clean. That's the other thing. It's mostly clean. I don't know if I should do this joke though because of what it references. I won't do the joke. I will say that I took that picture with Elmo and Kevin Clash, who was the guy that did his voice on Sesame Street, and then Kevin Clash was involved in a unflattering scandal right after that.
Oh,
so
okay.
then I had a
didn't know
picture.
that.
I had a picture with Elmo and Kevin Clash
Oh.
right before he got in some legal trouble. So.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully all is he still playing Elmo?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think he is anymore.
Okay. Well, that would make more sense if he wasn't, but
Yeah.
it's okay. You still got to meet him
Yeah.
before that happened.
And if you come out to see my stand-up, just to plug that, maybe you'll hear that joke and understand it sometime.
When is your shows?
Oh, so I have a
upcoming?
few coming up. Yeah, I'm. Well, actually, tomorrow morning I'm going to be on the Bill Schultz Morning Show on Compound Media. So I'll be doing another radio spot.
So
and,
how can people tune in? Is there a way to, or you've no
I
idea?
don't know. I think you go to compoundmedia.com.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it's something you have to subscribe to, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And then if you want to catch me live, I don't know where all your listeners are from. I guess they're all over the place.
All over the world.
So I'm doing
Some in New York,
I'm
too?
doing the Milwaukee Comedy Festival next weekend, August 4th. It's Sunday. I think the venue is called the Underground Collaborative. I'll be headlining at 5 p.m. So I'll be doing 30 to 45 minutes there. So it'll be a nice long set. And then I'll be going back to Los Angeles. I have a fundraiser show at my church. It's Sherman Oaks Lutheran Church on August 8th at 7:30 p.m.
Is that for comedy? Or
Yeah,
is
it's a comedy night. I'm on it. Brian Kiley, who's a writer for Conan, he's been on Comedy Central and Letterman. He'll be there. Rick Mitchell, who's one of the other writers at Ellen, and he used to work on TMZ. He'll be there. It's going to be a really great show, and the money will benefit the school that we sponsor in Guatemala. So we're hoping to get a big turnout for that one. And then the following week, I'll be at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club Saturday and Sunday. So I have several big shows coming up out in California.
Is that in California, Ventura?
Yeah, it's in Ventura County. Yep.
Oh, it's Ventura County.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called Ventura Comedy Club, but yeah, it's kind of right on the beach. It's a really nice club.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, you really make me wish I lived in California right now.
Yeah.
And when do you think you'll be back over on the East Coast? Like, do you do shows around here normally? Or
Yeah.
have you tried to?
Yeah, I do shows on the East Coast. I'm usually back here for Christmas break, so like 2 weeks between like Christmas and New Year's. I usually do some shows in the Allentown area in Pennsylvania.
You should reach out to Vinny Brand for Stress Factory.
Oh, okay, I will.
New
New
Brunswick,
I
New
haven't
Jersey.
been to the Stress Factory before, but yeah,
Okay,
I'd love
he's
to
going to
do
be
that.
on my show in September too.
Oh.
He's a really good friend of mine.
You got to put in a good word for me then
I-
and try to get me
I will
booked.
reach out to him as soon as you leave.
Awesome. So I usually do shows in the winter when I'm home, and then I'm usually home over the summers. I did a show in Allentown last week, and then sometimes I'll do shows in New York over the summer, but I didn't book any this year. But yeah, usually 2 or 3 times a year I'll do shows on the East Coast.
Trying to think if we have any good venues around New Jersey. See, because I'm from this area.
Uh-huh.
I want to see you, but you're so far away.
Yeah.
See, because I want you to play like on a stage. I don't want you to do like restaurant. Have
Are
you
there
done
like
restaurants?
I don't mind doing like shows in like bars and restaurants.
Okay,
and
'cause we
stuff.
do
sometimes
one-
those shows. I love doing the clubs, but
Yeah.
you know, there are bad bar and restaurant shows also. I've done
Well, this
some
place
very
has good
bad-
food.
Here's what makes for a good bar and restaurant show is that the audience knows they're there for comedy. Because sometimes the audience is there to have a drink or eat their dinner, and then they're surprised by the fact that there's comedy happening. And those shows never go that well.
No, this place
Yeah.
it's in East Windsor. It's a town over,
Oh, okay.
another town over New Jersey.
Yeah.
Further straight, actually, right when you pass Taco Bell, and it's called City Streets.
Oh,
And I
okay.
know they normally do comedy. It's every third Thursday or something at the end of the month or something like that. So if you're interested in that too,
Oh, nice.
you can see.
Oh, and that reminds me, this is another show. This one's a little ways out, but
problem.
November 9th in Bend, Oregon, they actually do a stand-up show in the Blockbuster where I did the hidden camera bit on
Oh
Ellen.
my gosh,
So
I
once
love
a
it.
month, I think it's the first Saturday of each month, I want to say, they do a stand-up show in the Blockbuster. So I'm doing stand-up in the last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon on November 9th.
And are you going to be Kevin?
No, I'll just be me. It's a completely
Just
different
be Adam?
It's a completely
But
different
it's
character.
Gonna be weird. I guarantee you're gonna have people that are gonna come up to you and they're gonna say you look familiar.
Yeah.
Or you're Kevin.
Oh, yeah. Actually, so this is a funny story. I don't think I've told this before. When we were, I don't know, how much time do we have left? Are we good still?
It's
Cool.
only 4:09.
Awesome.
You're good. Take your
Cool.
time.
I
Sit
always
back,
lose
relax,
track.
get a beer.
I always lose
You're
track
good.
of time on these things. So when I did the Kevin the Cashier at the last Blockbuster, we have people, like after I mess with them and we get them on camera, we have them sign like sheets, saying we can use them on TV. And apparently someone, after they left the Blockbuster and found out what was going on, called a local radio station there and went on social media. And it was like a whisper down the alley thing where somehow the whole town of Bend heard Ellen DeGeneres was at the Blockbuster.
Oh.
And so the rest of the day while we were trying to shoot like stuff there was still enough, customers and tourists coming through. But like for the rest of the day, there was people coming in, like just bursting through the doors, like, oh my gosh, we heard Ellen's here. Is Ellen here? I heard Ellen's here. And we had to keep turning them away. At one point, like a local news crew tried to come through.
Yeah, I was
with,
gonna
like,
say paparazzi and stuff tried
no,
to
a
shoot
local
in.
news crew came through like with cameras, and one of our production assistants had to like almost like tackle the news crew and keep them out of the
Yeah, they had to
the
stay
building.
out of
But
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then there's people like calling.
Was
up.
there, like,
There's
security
people
guards in
calling-
front?
No, we don't have security. We just have PAs that have to tackle people.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, but no, yeah, people started showing up. Then people were bringing like pizzas. Like, oh, we have a pizza shop down the street. We want Ellen to try our pizza. Oh, we have this
Oh,
benefit that we're
gosh.
sponsoring. We wanted to like pitch it to Ellen, and I'm like, no, Ellen's not here.
You're like, it's you.
Ellen's not here. Oh, and then someone called up. Someone called up on the phone, and goes, yeah. And I answered the phone because I was behind the counter at the time, and he goes, oh, I heard Ellen DeGeneres is there today. And I go, no, I don't know where that rumor got started. He goes, oh, well, it's all over Twitter, and I heard it on the radio. And I go, no, Ellen's not here. I don't know why they would be saying that. And he goes, oh, okay. And then right before I hang up, I go, but Jimmy Fallon's here, and you're missing it. And I just hung up real quick.
Oh, that probably got him really, really mad and upset. But wow, no, I mean it's crazy when one person that really shouldn't be saying anything, even if they're a part of it, they still want to share it. And the thing
Yeah,
is,
it's exciting. I get it. Like it.
well, I know that
it's hard.
Ellen was just in Philly, I think, a few weeks ago or last month or something.
Oh,
like that.
see, again, I don't think she was there.
Well,
it was
her group.
someone from the show.
Crew.
Jeannie, I think our receptionist goes and does like, she's like our receptionist, but she's also like a correspondent on the show and like surprises people at their door and goes to like different.
That's
towns
who
and
Jeannie is.
does
Yeah, then I've
contests.
seen Jeannie. I mean,
Yeah,
I've never just on TV.
She, I think, was the one that was in Philly with John Dorenbos from he's a former Eagles player and a magician that we have on the show a lot. I think they were like,
Okay, yeah.
they were doing some kind of like contest there in Philadelphia.
Or they were
I
trying to
think.
like do something.
Yeah, probably giving
And
away
everybody
a car.
was trying to give their side
We
story.
give away lots of cars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
I think that's
you know what
probably
I
what it was.
love? The 25 days of Christmas.
12.
12 days of
12.
Christmas.
It's
Is it
supposed to be 12. Then they add bonus days, so I don't know how many days there are every
Are
year
you
now.
sure? I think it's like.
I work there.
16,
I'm pretty sure it's 12.
Well, the bonus days count.
I've worked
no?
there 8 years, and for the 8 years I've been there, it's been 12 each
12.
time. And then,
Well, don't
like
worry,
I said,
I
though,
tune in
it's
every
always
day.
12 to 12, but then sometimes there's bonuses, and I don't know how many days there are. Yeah.
No, I definitely tune in every day. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just exciting. It's something fun to work to like watch. Because I remember Dr. Phil used
Is
to do
it
something
fun
like
to
that.
watch when like other people are winning prizes?
Oh, it's just
That's
a little
like-
heart.
exactly-
It's just
okay.
a little stab in the heart, but it's okay.
Because I get like, I'm always like, oh, I get this is exciting for the people here. But then those shows get like huge ratings, and I'm like, oh, people just like watching other people win stuff on TV.
I mean, I like watching the shows, the
Yeah,
game show. I think her game show
the
just came
reactions
back,
are
right?
great when you see the people like jumping around and going.
Do you help
going
with the
nuts.
game show too?
Or
is that another
Ellen's
show she
Game of
just did?
Games? I don't work on that show full time. The first season, they're just finished their third season, I think, which will air starting in January, I think.
Yeah, that's what they're
But-
talking about.
But
I saw the preview.
I don't work on that show full time. Some of the other writers work on it, and I helped a little bit with a little bit with it on the first season.
So where do you feel like you get your inspiration from the writing? Like just around you? Like
Yeah,
you
I
talk
mean,
to Ellen, does she help with
what
with that too?
Yeah, it's all collaborative, but we write, like whether it's writing for Ellen or writing for my stand up stuff, I try to follow the news and, pop culture as much as I can.
God bless your soul. That's
Yeah.
hard to do because it's something new every single hour.
It's something new every single hour, and like it's been hard with the way like politics has gone the last few years, because it seems like politics is like all consuming now. Like,
Oh, it is.
Every story, every time you turn on the TV, everything is all politics all the time. And like I said, I like doing political material, but both for my own stand-up and especially for the show, it's like you want stories that aren't politics. You want what else is going on out there, So you want to find stuff, other things that are going on in the world to talk about. So yeah, I try to follow, that kind of stuff. And like I said, just observational material comes from just when you're out and about every day, just thinking about, the different quirks of everyday life, and in conversations with people, sometimes jokes will hit you.
Or something that
I
clicks,
always,
right?
Yeah, I always find like when I'm driving and my mind is wandering, then like a lot of
Stuff happens.
a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas, will kind of spark then, and then I'll go back and try to develop them into a joke later.
Okay.
And I have a couple of friends. Well, as far as writing for my own stand-up, I have a couple friends from Pennsylvania still that do stand-up also, and we'll kind of like write together once every week or two and bounce ideas off of each other, and sometimes that generates material. Yeah.
Wow. Well, no, I still think that's amazing depending on it, because it's always who you're with, who you're
Yeah.
with, who your friends are. That helps ambush
Yeah.
so much more material than you think.
And with writing like that, it's like both with writing for a show and writing for like stand up. I know when I'm like bouncing material around, it's like a very personal thing. When you have like a joke that's like a new idea that you don't know how it's gonna go, because there's like you want it to do well, but maybe sometimes you have
It
a
might
lot of
not.
confidence in it and they don't get it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just have kind of like a shell of an idea and you're trying to like talk it through it with them,
Or you hear it in your voice
because you
or
know
your
there's
head.
something there and you want to build from it. So it is like you need someone like a writing partner. It's not like I could just sit down with like any comedian or comedy writer and just like meld with them, creatively. It is, like the guys that I write with are like two guys that I like grew up with in comedy. I've been doing for a while, and like we don't have exactly the same style, but we get each other's sense of humor. So it's somebody that like you have like a connection with them, that you feel comfortable bouncing material off of them and kind of working through ideas.
And I think more of the material comes from, like when you said, when you're just not thinking about
Yeah.
it. It just
It's
flies.
so hard. It is so hard, even as like a professional writer, to just sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna write a joke.
You get
now.
writer's block?
I do get writer's block.
How do you
sometimes,
overcome it?
But I don't think it's. I do get writer's block sometimes, but I don't necessarily look at it. It doesn't necessarily feel like writer's block. It just feels like, oh, nothing's coming right now.
Okay. So
Like-
it's not ready to come.
Yeah, but like I said, it's more like I have to be kind of out and about and in conversation, or when my mind's wandering. If I come up with an idea for a joke, I'll like jot it down on my phone, and then later when I make time to write, it's like I'm going through those ideas I've had earlier in the day and kind of developing them more. So if I have a lot of like observations or thoughts that I've written down earlier, then I can generate a lot of material because I kind of have these ideas to work from. But if I haven't like written anything down or inspiration hasn't hit, it's hard to just sit down at a desk in a vacuum and being like, okay, I'm gonna come up with a joke, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna come up with a topic
Well,
to
you
write
get a lot
about.
of pressure on
So
you
it's hard.
sometimes, depending on your job, or no?
Yeah, well, like I said, there's 8 writers on the show, so there's some weeks, when I'm like, oh, I have so many ideas this week, I have so much stuff to pitch, and then there's other weeks when I'm like, I got nothing, I can't do this, I'm not.
So then,
good.
like,
I'm
other
not good at
ones
this
will
at
help.
all. Yeah.
Well, that helps.
And so hopefully, when one person's having an off week, someone else is having a good week, or maybe sometimes something someone else says will
Yeah.
spawn an idea that you can kind of piggyback off of and develop something together. So it is, all late night shows and daytime shows, they have a team of writers, because you need a lot of people to generate enough material for, an hour talk show every day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and as far as stand-up goes, it takes a long time to develop, like a new, 15 minutes worth of material, or a new half hour worth of material. It takes a long time to develop that, because you're kind of going out each week, but comics are usually repeating the same material for, several weeks or even several months to different audiences, and then slowly working in more material as they go, so it's like I always say, like when I go out and do a set, like it's typically like 80% old material and then 20% new material.
But that's okay.
And you're kind of working it in as you go. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that, because a lot of
Yeah.
people like to just go with first new material, and sometimes that just is not the thing to do.
No, yeah, it's always a risk starting with new material. When you're,
because you want to just,
you're more excited. Yeah, because as a comedian, I get tired of my own material. Like,
really?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think all comedians do. But it's like there's jokes, that it's like I know this one works, but I'm so tired of telling it. And then you have a new idea, and you're excited about it. Because like, in my head, I'm like, oh, this is my new thing. Yep. And then you blurt it out, and it doesn't work. And you're like, I should have done the thing I'm tired of.
That's how it happens. And, but it starts off when you want to actually portray something and what you want to do. So when you're doing the comedy and stuff, you already do the writing and stuff. So you have more of an incentive in what you want to do and your push.
Yeah.
Versus other comedians that are still trying to get out there,
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely there's an incentive to I think I don't know if I would say it's so much like an incentive, but it is definitely a catalyst to writing more material the more you get out there. Like the more shows you're doing a week, the more that's one thing where I get up to do stand up about once a week, I would say. And if I don't have any booked shows, I'll still try to hit up like open mics here and there and just do like 5 minutes of like trying stuff out, cuz I do feel like you really generate more material the more often, the more frequently that you're doing it. And it's one of those things, like I've been doing stand-up for about 12 years now, coming up on 12 years.
Okay.
But like if I don't get up for like 2 weeks in a row, I feel rusty. Like it's like, and then the next show you're like, oh, I haven't been on stage. I haven't been in front of an audience.
It's like me right now with
weeks.
driving. I'm still trying to get my license.
Oh, really? And you only try once every 2 weeks.
No, I feel like I've been trying to drive this whole week because my test is on Monday.
Have you ever had your driver's license before?
I've never had my license. I just got my permit.
See, that's a weird thing because how am I allowed to ask how old you are? Like
22. You're good. You're fine.
So like, when I was growing up, I'm 36, and like when I was growing up, like when people turn 16, it's like you wanted your driver's license like immediately.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people now, like in their like late teens, early 20s, who like it's not a thing anymore. Where like.
Trust me, I tried.
What do you think? So you've just failed a lot.
Oh, that permit test was the hardest thing in my life.
But when did you take? Have you had your permit since you were 16 and been trying ever since?
No, I've had my permit since March this year when I turned 22.
So did you not want it before that?
Oh, I did. I just could never pass.
Oh,
and they always make you do it.
Have you been trying to pass the test since you were 16?
Since 18, I failed 14 times.
Oh, maybe you shouldn't be on the road.
I passed.
Maybe there should be a quota where like, all right, you can fail and try again, but after you fail
the written
20
test.
After you even the written test.
I hate that thing.
Yeah. If you fail that 20 times, you should just you get an Uber for the rest of your life.
I think my lucky number was 15 on that, thank God.
No. But it's weird to me because even waiting till you're 18 to try to get your permit, like I feel like kids nowadays, I don't know if it's because people are like more social, like through like online media, that it's not like as exciting to like go out and like
it can
like
depends.
Maybe you don't want that like
it's scary to do
not
Uber
like
and stuff.
Maybe there's not like the social freedom aspect of like driving that there used to be now that like kids are used to like socializing online. I don't know if that's it. I'm just like theorizing because I know and I've read where like more and more people aren't like as excited to like immediately get their driver's license when they're 16. Like
I mean, I was when I turned 16, but I couldn't pass. So I was
so
like,
you did try when you were 16.
I tried doing the
Have
permit.
you been keeping do you have check marks on the wall?
No.
All that, like a jail cell with just the.
No, I hope I would never do
failed
that.
You failed your permit
Gosh,
test.
if I ever had a kid, I'd feel so disappointed.
So have you passed the permit test now?
Yes, I passed.
And now
March.
you have to pass the actual driving part.
Yeah, I failed twice for parallel.
Parallel parking.
You gotta give me credit.
That is okay. Parallel parking. It is the hardest part of it, but you shouldn't fail twice. But when you live in a city, I think you need to do it a lot more.
Well, the first time I never got a chance to set up for parallel parking. I didn't see depth perception in front of me, so I was on the left side of the lane, and I got failed right away.
Oh, I see.
I was supposed to be on the right.
I see.
So driving on the wrong side of the road was what they said.
Yeah.
So now my next test is Monday. And
well, good luck.
I'll pass. Thank you.
I hope you get it, and if you do, let me know because I won't drive in New Jersey anymore. I'll have to stay off the roads here.
I'm not a bad driver, I'll tell you that.
That's because you can't drive yet. You will be.
I'm trying to. I really want to, but I definitely want to. But I definitely think it's amazing. Especially what you've done and where you became from what you were doing. And you also do comedy on the side. And,
Yeah.
a lot of people that have a job when you're just doing writing, like, you wouldn't think that you want to portray another career.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I like to do both. I always want writing, I think, to be my main, like full-time job.
Of course,
But stand-up is like, it's a passion. It's something that I love doing. I can't see myself ever like stopping.
But you still want to be at Yonkers.
Yakos, yeah. I do want to go
Yonkers.
back there. You call Yakos Yonkers and Conan Conan, I noticed.
Oh, goodness. Is it my Jerseyness?
It might be the Jersey accent,
I
yeah.
hope so. It might be.
But yeah, I want to keep doing stand-up, and as much as I want writing as my main thing, I would love to, do like a stand-up special eventually if I can get one somewhere, or I did a stand-up spot on Conan once. I would love to do like another late night spot, but yeah, I would love to
Have
keep
you tried
doing
James
stand-up.
Corden?
I don't think I've submitted.
Why did I come out British?
I don't think I've submitted to James Corden.
You should.
No.
He's is he in New York or is he California?
He's L.A.
He's
Yeah,
LA.
he's
That's
in
what I
L.A.
was gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Jimmy Fallon?
Fallon, I think I've
Kimmel, I know.
I think I've submitted to. Yeah.
Fallon is nice.
Yeah, I know like Fallon, Colbert, Conan, I think have and Seth Meyers, they all have stand-ups on
Yeah.
pretty regularly, yeah.
Well, they're always
Kimmel does every now and then, but I don't think he has them on real often. And then Ellen at our show, we have like stand-ups on maybe like once per season, I feel like.
Yeah, it's more celebrities,
we
but
had
that's
Tig
good.
Notaro do stand-up, I think not this past season, but the season before. There was this guy, Joe Wong, I think they had on years ago. And I think Amy Schumer might have done stand-up on there once before I was there. There was somebody else that they had on. But yeah, our show, like
I love
every
Amy.
every once in a blue moon, they have like stand-up on our show, but not real frequently.
Is a lot of stuff on the Ellen Show, I know we're all dying to know this, is a lot of it scripted? Like if there's somebody in the audience or something happens?
So the writers, we write the monologues, and then like the second act, like where she's like sitting down when she's doing like funny
Her dance and then she
funny
gets
photos, or like an audience interaction bit or something like that.
Yeah.
That's scripted. But then no, when they're like surprising people in the audience, or like the guest interviews and stuff.
Pulling
I mean,
people in.
obviously they have a plan, like any show, of like this is what's going in that act, but they're not scripted. No.
Okay. And then people put their names in like hats and stuff depending on that, or
What do you
Or
mean?
they
Like when they have
register.
like when they call audience members down to like play a game and stuff like that?
that, or when there's like a celebrity guest and then she calls their name or something.
Yeah, it's always
Like it's always different.
yeah, it's always planned in some way, but it's not like scripted.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was dying to know because there's so many.
It is a surprise to them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then they don't know beforehand.
Yeah, no, they
Like
don't know.
the person wouldn't know. Okay. I didn't know. I was just asking.
Yeah.
Because we're all dying to know these questions
yeah.
from being on TV and everything. But give out your gigs again where they are.
Okay, so I have August 4th. I'll be at the Underground Collaborative for the Milwaukee Comedy Festival. I'm headlining that show at 5 p.m. Then I will be I'm doing a show at Sherman Oaks Lutheran Church in Sherman Oaks, California, August 8th at 7:30. And then the following 2 weekends, I'll be at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club in Ventura, California.
And we're so excited to have you here as well. on
Thank you so
Hamilton
much
Radio.
for having me, yeah.
This was a blast. I honestly appreciate you being here in studio.
Oh, it was great.
Versus over the phone.
Yeah, it's fun to be here in person.
It definitely is. And I mean, you said you liked the studio.
Yeah, Kelly
You had a good
Pickler
feel
called
to
in,
it.
right? So I did better than Kelly Pickler.
Yeah, she called in. She was my one guest. Yeah. Actually, we have one person before we go. Jersey Shore Angel Marie, and she said, "Awesome show." Hi, Adam.
Hello, what is it?
Jersey
Maria?
Shore Angel Marine.
Marine. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the show.
I think it's awesome. I think we did an amazing time. We still have 1 minute left. Do you have anything else you want to plug?
I don't know if I have anything else that I want to plug. Yeah. I mean, if you come out to check out a stand-up show live, if you want to see any of my,
We're gonna try to get you at Vinny Brands too.
yes, exactly.
Stress Factory.
Yeah, if you want to see, my stand-up, I have a few clips on YouTube. You can look me up. I have a sketch. I produce some sketches. They're sort of like politically themed with a friend of mine. It's Riot Act Comedy on YouTube. You can check that out.
Okay.
But yeah.
And where can people find you? Like your social
Oh
media.
yeah, social media. I'm not huge on social media. I have an Instagram. I think it's Adam Yenser. Just whatever the thing is. Is it an at on Instagram? At Adam Yenser. And then
The
on
thing.
Twitter, yeah. I don't know if it's like an underscore or an at.
Is
I'm
it
not,
Adam
but
underscore
yeah,
Yenser?
you should follow me on the Instagram. I don't use much.
The Instagram.
And then my Twitter is at cleancomedian69. And you can look
Oh,
up. See,
how's that
get
clean?
It, get
How's
it?
that
You
clean,
get it?
Adam?
Yeah, see, it's clever. I signed up for Twitter. Twitter started in what, like, I don't know what year Twitter started.
2006,
Yeah,
7?
something like that, 7 maybe. But
Mine is old.
I
too,
signed
but
up for
changed
Twitter
mine.
last year, 2018, and I was like, I want my handle to be cleancomedian69, and it was still available. I'm like, how did no other comedian take
So
that
is it
in
Adam?
7 years?
No.
It's my name, Adam Yenser, is like I don't know all the correct terms for social media.
Okay.
So the
I'll help
name is
you out.
Adam Yenser, but then the handle I think is at cleancomedian69.
Okay.
And then you can also follow my if you want to check out all my upcoming shows, it's adamyenser.com.
Oh, you have a website.
Yeah,
too.
that's
Okay.
right. I have video clips on there, my bio, and then I have all my upcoming tour dates are listed.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here. I had a blast having you. Can't
Great,
wait to have
thank
you
you.
back in the studio again sometime. And we'll promote more gigs, but I hope you have an awesome time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to get pictures. We're off. Yeah. Can you do a promotion for us real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so you're going to say your name,
Okay.
where you're from.
Okay.
So you can, if you want to say from the Ellen Show or
Okay.
whatever you want to say.
Sure.
Then you're going to say you're listening to the DJ Danny Show.
All right.
And then you're going to say the second one, you're listening to Hamilton Radio.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
This is Adam Yenser, comedian and Emmy Award-winning writer for The Ellen DeGeneres Show. You are listening to DJ